Get a roll call vote, please, or roll call, please.
Chairman Winters,
Here.
Vice Chairman Wilson, Board Member Ezell,
Here.
Board Member Rogers, Board Member Stevens.
Here.
Has everybody had the opportunity to look at the previous minutes from March? Any changes, discussion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from March 8th, 2021.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second to approve the minutes? We have a motion, a second. Get a roll call, please.
Board Member Stevens,
I abstain. Right, since I wasn't here.
Board Member Rogers,
Yes.
Board Member Ezell,
Abstain.
Vice Chairman Wilson,
Yes.
Chairman Winters.
Yes, ma'am. This time, I'd like to ask everybody to stand and pledge allegiance with us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We only have one case on the docket this evening. The property is 1222 Reeves Avenue. We have a representative here also from that property. If you both would stand up here along with codes enforcement.
I may have my phone just to show him a response that I received into the matter. Is that okay, or would you like me to wait till after?
Not really necessary. If you would, just state your name for matter of record, please.
Matter of record will state Michelle Williams. My name now is Michelle Couch-Cagle.
I'm sorry.
My name now is Michelle Couch-Cagle. Your records will reflect me as Michelle Williams on the property.
You can take your mask off if you'd like. That way we can understand you just a tad better. Do we have all your contact information?
Yes, you do.
Okay,
We text and communicate well.
okay. Mike, you want to go ahead and bring us up to date, please?
Yes, during the last Housing Board meeting dated March the 8th, 2021, the Housing Commission ordered the property, the owner shall appear on said date, which is today, to show cause if any action of condemnation or relative to the property, including without limitation demolishing of the property, shall be initiated. So we do have the property owner here now telling her intentions of the home, so.
We'll go back in time. The last time I was here, you asked me to get the structural engineering report. You have that on file.
Before we go any further, we have to swear you in. Have you taken oath?
Not a problem.
Yes.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Okay, if you don't mind, just do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Structural engineer report was provided to Charlie after we met. I was apprising Charlie before the changeover to Mr. Howell along the way last year. My family was greatly impacted by COVID. I was hospitalized, dealt with the effects of that, buried my brother. This spring is when we're all getting back to some sense of normalcy. The last communication I had with Donald Payne, who will be performing the daylighting of the foundation and doing the wall, which Mr. Gordon has confirmed in the structural engineer report that that wall, although it is cosmetically not pretty, it does not bear condemnation or the property falling in. It's a cosmetic issue. Do you still have that on file?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving forward, tree branch fell on the roof. The roof was repaired. I have the replacement value of the roof that was done. Tree removal and so forth, that was handled while I was in the hospital. And moving forward, Donald has communicated with me, which is what I was going to show you. He said he did talk to you, but he forgot to indicate that property to you in the four that he did discuss with you. I do have text confirmation, phone number can be verified, that he still intends to do the property. But with me being out of pocket and not knowing truthfully if I was going to ever survive, everything just stopped from the summer to the fall. That's it. So we're back. Moving forward, we'll be getting that done.
I know there's been some complaints by some of the neighbors.
Yes.
And that's the reason that we're here.
I understand.
I go by that property. I've been by it several times, been by it again within the last hour, and looked at it, you know, pretty good. I don't see anything structurally wrong with the property. I see some cosmetic issues
Yes.
that need to be taken care of. And-
Hopes. Those are the hopes.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question for codes enforcement. I'm wondering why it's not before the age showed, you know, and why it's, you know, before the Housing Commission, over the neighbors complaining. These are minor violations that are going on with the house. Got a couple of retaining walls leaning in the front, but that's from gravity. I don't see any imminent danger to nobody, even the neighbors. I'll give you time to answer that in just a minute, ma'am, if you'd like to come up. But I know this last year, there's been a lot going on with the COVID. I know, even know that Hamilton County has stopped the back tax sale for the year 2021. And it doesn't matter if you're 4 years behind on your property taxes, nothing's going to get sold this year.
Sir, my property taxes are paid.
I
Vacant
know they're
policy is on
paid.
the house.
I know there's an outstanding balance, $15. I've looked at it every which way because they were paid about 12, 14 days late. They weren't documented with the county, so there's a late penalty. It's either 12 or $15.
I was unaware of that, and I'll take care of that in the
Yeah,
morning.
but I've even looked at that. But at this time, I'd like to give this lady an opportunity to come up and make a statement, please. It doesn't matter, you can step aside either way. Yes, ma'am, you state your name, please.
Bonnie Noble, and I
Okay.
live at 1205 Reeves Avenue. And that house, the issue the neighbors are having is that the house has been abandoned for 20 years. No one has lived there. The swimming pool is filled with rank water. There's mosquitoes all over the place. It's not been lived in for 20 years, and that is the issue that we have.
Yes, ma'am. When's the last time you've been in contact with codes enforcement? And they've been to that property, do you know?
I have no idea, but in 2016, Nikki Heck, my neighbor, and myself, and several other people got a petition, and we got 25 signatures of people from the neighborhood that we presented to the city council 3 years ago. And at that time, she said she was going to fix it up, and now she's using the excuse of COVID. But that was 3 years ago when we presented the petition to the city council.
Yes, ma'am. I remember hearing the case. I don't remember seeing the signatures from 25 people, but I guess we
Yeah,
could go back and
We had a
look.
petition, that should be in the records.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's all I have to say, that it has been abandoned for 20 years, and that is the issue that we have. It's abandoned, and it's very, very much an eyesore.
Yes, ma'am. I know it needs some cosmetic work done on the property. I don't see anything structurally wrong with it, from what I can see.
I'd like to ask the city to get their own engineer to go out and look it over.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I think codes enforcement, in my opinion, need to get back involved in it
I agree.
and do their own inspection on it. Pardon?
That's been basically 2 years. I'm going to address that in just a moment. I'll go ahead and address it now.
Yeah,
if
go
you
ahead.
want me to. Mike, first, before this board, I would like to make a motion that within the next 30 days, and that being by our next meeting will be May the 10th. I would like to see granted access to my cow and Inspector Flynn to go in that house together. Love for you to be there and them doing an inspection of everything, the swimming pool, the basement, the electrical panel, the water, whatever, and look at that to see where we stand and what direction we're going to go, and let's proceed from there.
I do, I have,
I know Charlie did it. I was on the, we were,
Okay.
most of us were on the board. We're familiar with what Charlie did. Our issue is that, two permits expire. That's a 2-year period. So, you know, I know our Chairman Winters asked about why this doesn't go to the AHO. It's here to the Housing Commission because the Housing Commission has the option, if they choose to do so, to order that house demolished. We can move forward in that direction if we need to. We're tired of sitting and waiting. East Ridge, I'm sure you got a piece of paper last week about how much your property value assessment increased. Average assessment increase in East Ridge was 35%. That's probably on the lower end of the scale. The good thing is your property taxes aren't going to go up with that assessment. Just if you choose to sell it, now is the time to sell it because it's a buyer's market.
I understand, I don't intend to this time. As far as the pool, it's treated with the Dunkin' Dots on a regular basis for the mosquitoes concerned. I can't take responsibility for everyone who has tires and equipment that are in their yard as well. Although, I understand the complaint, but I am proactive and at that property on a regular
Okay.
basis.
But if there's other properties there that concern you, then report them to codes, and they will. Well, I mean, that's your option and your right, and we would like to see things like that occur because East Ridge, the way it's spread up, it's very difficult for a codes person to get to every single property that needs attention. And a lot of codes comes in from neighbors, people on this board. We're tasked, if we see something, to report it within 24 hours by state credentials. So with that being said, I make a motion that between now and May the 10th, that both the Mikes, Flynn and Hal, have access to that house. The two of you get together, you work out a time to meet him there, or your representative that you want to meet him there, and then Mike will determine from there if we need a structural engineer's report and use an outside third party that's never been used by the city. That's my motion.
I don't understand why an additional engineer.
I said, if he determines that one needs to be done. Mike is very good at what he does. He's trained, he's credentialed. He mostly does the commercial components of our business. So his credentialing is more in depth than Charlie Ritchie's was. He has more structural knowledge. So that's why I want Mike to make an assessment if another engineer needs to look at it. It's like getting, you brought us a note from Mary Wagner. It's like getting a second opinion on something. You get second opinions on things that you want to be sure about. I would also like to see Sarah or Cameron go by on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to check that swimming pool to make sure that 1, it's covered, 2, it's filled, and 3, it's not green. I don't want any kids falling in that pool drowning. I don't want anybody's pets drowning. It's a liability, and it's one that in today's time would cost you a great deal of money. So,
I'll make that happen.
and you will keep, and then next time we have a meeting, then you will update it, and we'd like to see you back here May the 10th. We'll go ahead.
Do you have in there also where Fred signed off on the electrical, where all the electrical was fixed in the mast and so
I have
forth?
where the electrical permit was pulled. I can go back with Melissa and pull the records on where it was approved. Obviously, it was
It's
approved,
done.
but yeah,
It's
obviously
done.
it was approved because your meter base has been set on it and your
Right.
surface entry cables are attached. So, yeah, once it's been stickered, yeah, that's the only way they'll set a meter on it anyway.
Okay, says,
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on the floor. We'll get a roll call vote, please.
Board Member Ezo,
Yes.
Board Member Rogers, Board Member Stevens,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Wilson,
yes.
Chairman Winters.
Yes, ma'am. There's a couple other properties on 3200 block of Bennett Road that's boarded up. I don't know what the status on that property is. It's been boarded up for more than 2 years, maybe 3 years. There's another property on the top of Chatillon at the intersection of Bennett that's been boarded up over a year now.
I believe Ulysses, was that case not in this board?
Well, remember, the gentleman died.
That's right, that's
Is
right.
that the one that had the hole in the roof?
Yes, the tree fell on it, and then they had to get the roof and then electrical, and he
Fire,
just had,
yeah.
he kept having,
And he died? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he died from a stroke or something. So he has passed. I guess it's probably in his estate. We do need to pursue that and look at what can be done there, because that's set long enough.
Oh, yeah, because that was in the beginning of when I joined this board, and that's been 2 years. Also, the property on Fountain that's at Fountain in Germantown, like 2 from from Germantown that's been boarded up 4 or 5 years. And I've been meaning to call you guys about that one because I pass it daily, and it's right on that main road. Everybody else keeps their house really nice, and that house has been boarded up and abandoned for a very long time.
That's a good start.
This property on Reeves Avenue is no different than these others. They all need cosmetics, you know? That's my feeling, you know? So-
I agree with you. They all structurally look like it's
Got
a
good
blighted
bones.
look rather than it's something that needs to be.
Do we have any other business to come before the Housing Commission this evening? We're adjourned.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, we got.
McCullough has a question.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Come on up.
Charles McCullough, 1214 Reeves.
Go ahead and take your
Take your mask
mask off. It's awful muffled up here trying to hear between these glass bars.
Charles McCullough, 1214 Reeves. I just want to make sure that we're going to keep following up on this.
Oh, we
Because
will.
what's happened the past couple of times is the building permits have been a license to let it sit and continue to rot. And that's what I'm concerned about. And that's unfortunately been sort of a problem in the city in general, not just on our street, but feeling has been, oh, you can buy a building permit, and that lets you reset the clock for a year to not do anything on your property, and that's what I'm concerned about in this case.
Well, we're looking at addressing those concerns. I've met with Kenny this week. I've talked with Mike several times. We're taking a more aggressive approach for 2021. COVID did throw us a curve last year, 9 months without even one meeting or anything. And we're having good results with the AHO. This board, is very important to the city. We want to stop the process. It would be nice if, as we move forward, and I think Mark has some meetings set up for us in the future, where we look at ways where we communicate back and forth. Like if one of us on this committee sends a piece of property to either one of our codes inspector that's in here now, and that we will be tasked to check back with them in 2, 3, 5 days or so forth to find out what their outcomes. And Mike and I have been communicating on several properties lately, and it's been a very fluid situation. Even on Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I had him go out and look at a house that they were putting a roof on and never pulled the permit, and we caught it real quick. So we realize we have issues, and the only way we learn about them is if the citizens tell us, because it's tough for the 5 of us to still have lives and get out there and find a lot of these properties. That's where we need the citizens' help. A lot of people don't want to say anything about their neighbors, but, you know, that's one of the reasons I think you're seeing the property values in East Ridge begin to escalate. I think we're going back to the East Ridge that people had and seen in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And you know, we had some issues there for a few years, but I do think we're in that direction again. Our codes people are doing everything they can right now, making sure they stay up to date on all changes in codes, because Chattanooga City's still operating, 2012 guidelines, and we updated to 2018, and according to what I was told by Kenny, we're in the process of updating some of those more.
Correct.
We discussed the situation with properties and things like that, houses and apartments, so hopefully we're going to get to where we need to be. We are going to stumble. I can promise you from my perspective and the ones I know of on this board that we're going to take this serious. We're going to move forward.
Okay.
So you and I stay in touch, and I'm sorry that we last year, and
Yeah.
we're not gonna let permits, we're gonna start doing time checks on them somehow. Just gonna work, get some wrinkles out of that process. How much work they've done during that permit and things, and so forth.
Right.
Just wanna stop being a license delay for a year.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other business before the board?
Sure.
We have a motion